Hi everybody, it's Ramon Medina here. Yeah, with another podcast. Alright, so if you're an author, you got a pretty big decision. Let's say you finish your manuscript and everything. Now, do you want to become a self-published author or a traditional publisher? Both routes have their pros and cons. Let's start with, I'm a self-published author. I'm happy with that. Okay, so don't judge me, please. And I'm here to say that there is no correct way of answering this. It all comes down to the author himself to make that decision. Both paths have their pros and cons. I will say this, that self-publishing has had a bad stigma in the past because they have a bad reputation, but that's because of vanity publishers that gave those indie authors a bad reputation because of their unscrupulous practices. Which just falls in another curveball. But let's cut the chit chat, shall we? Let's go on. What is self-publishing anyway? And this will be self-publishing right here. Yes, you can. It is possible. Personally, this is the route I choose, and I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm a full-time author, to be honest, so I could afford the time. I got time to waste. I got time to market and do everything. But to elaborate, the author is responsible for publishing, book design, editing, and marketing. Basically, you wear multiple hats as a self-published author. Back in the day, it used to be a bad stigma for self-publishing books because they were poorly written. Many people didn't take us indie authors seriously. But now, and today, but that's because of vanity publishers, which is another subject for which I have another video, and I have another blog post about that. That's a whole different game. Let's not worry about that. But anyway, they used to consider just cop-outs for not wanting to go through the process of getting an agent and all that. So with that being said, with self-publishing, the possibilities are endless. You have full control of your editing, book cover, formatting style, and control of your character's point of view. In other words, you have 100% creative control. Yeah, how does that sound? And I love 100% of control of my book. It's my book after all. I worked so hard to work on it. Why should I give it up to anybody else? It's my personality that sells. Because I'd rather read a book that has personality than read a well-written book that's boring as shit. And I was talking to a friend, Bernard Jan from Croatia, one of my good buddies that's in the hybrid nation, and I told him, as much as I respect the fact you want to be traditionally published, but let's face it, I've read some crappy traditionally published books that were pure garbage, that were crap. And he said he agrees and he understands that, and unfortunately with traditional publishing, they will be books that get through the cracks and turn out to be complete duds. But that's how it goes sometimes. But they say more authors are going with self-publishing, and it's going to soon become the dominant force in the publishing world. But it is a harder route to go because you have to do everything by yourself. Now, moving on, we're gonna have traditional publishing. Yes, traditional publishing. Only about close to 4 minutes, so I'm making good time. Traditional publishing, on the other hand, is the opposite. The publishers include the big five, including Penguin, Random House, HarperCollins, Simon is good, and I forget the fifth one, but the idea, just the big five publishers, and even some bigger publishing houses, well, not quite the big five, but they got the resources for it, and in order to even be considered for them, you have to have an agent. There's no way around getting an agent. You have to have an agent if you want to get in with the big boys. And I have to tell you, some of the greatest authors, and even some of the aspiring great authors that could actually write for shit, get rejected by these people. They are highly criticized for only accepting about 5% of the books. So, unfortunately, that does be good authors, out of the loop, or even worse, they may end up going to a vanity publisher out of desperation because they're so desperate to get out there. not knowing that all they had to do is just self-publishing themselves, and they wouldn't have to spend all that kind of money. But that, like I said, vanity is for another blog post and another video. So, and when you submit a publisher to an agent, you have to submit several things. It's the synopsis, a cover letter, an essay of your book, not your whole manuscript unless requested. If you don't follow that rule, you're gonna be rejected. They're not even gonna look at your work. So please follow those guidelines. Whatever guidelines they say to tell you, whatever they tell you to submit, you submit it the way they want it. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Some traditional publishers won't even consider your work if it doesn't fit a certain word count. Yeah, and I think this is probably the next fail of circumstances here, because some people might like to write non-books, but the unfortunate majority of people don't like to read non-books. They're very fickle, and unfortunately people these days don't want to read a 500-page novel. That's a 250-page novel. So it's just the short attention span, unfortunately, of the younger generations. They have a shorter attention span. They rather watch football and basketball rather than read, which is the sad truth. And another thing about traditional publishing is that you lose creative control, but we're gonna get into that a little later. Let's go. You could read this. I'm gonna give you the link to the blog post on the description, so you could read it long. If you're listening, you could read it long, and you could get further information. Now, what's the better route to take? You might be asking. Let's go over the pros and cons of both self and traditional publishing. Let's start with self-publishing. What are the pros? First, you got 100% creative control over your book, including cover, editing, storyline, etc., and price. There are fewer steps required to actually publish your book, given that you know what you're doing. You get royalties, all royalties that you do. You don't have to share royalties with anybody. You get 100% royalties, except for the 50 cents you gotta pay for distribution, but that's really nothing. It's possible to publish your book with little to no investment if you know what you're doing. You could change the price of your book at any time. You retain full ownership of your book, which is very important. It's a very important difference. And it's good for people like me who are full-time authors, who have all the time in the world to do this. Now, but yes, as much as there are many good things, there are also some cons. And one of them is you have to do all the editing yourself, formatting and book covers, unless you pay a professional to do so, which will cost you an arm and an egg in some cases. And stretch my neck here, because when it comes to the more painful part, you have to market it. Whether you market it or not, you have to market your own books as well. Which means you need all your social media tools, and you have to be on social media as often as you can. Every day, do something to let people that you know you even exist, because the moment you snack off, people are gonna notice that you don't exist, and you're just gonna be buried in the pariah of all the other authors. Beta readers become much more important. You have to get beta readers. They become much more important to the success of your book. As statistics say, and this is painful, an average of about 100 copies of self-published books are sold in a lifetime. I'm happy to say so far I've sold about maybe half or 3/4 of that, so I'm doing well. But that's an exception rather than the rule. So you may find yourself in the rule rather than the exception. But it's the risk you take, unfortunately. That's the way it goes. Now, what are the pros of traditional publishing? What's so cool about traditional publishing? Why do you want to get into the big five? Well, because once you're accepted for publication, the publisher will take care of your editing. You get 2 months of editing without charge. You get the cover done by them, and you get partial marketing. They will market your book partially. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get to that in a few minutes. You will gain more prestige as as a traditionally published author, you will gain more prestige. And if your book is really good, you may get paid in advance on your book. And the publisher takes care of most things, making it good for those authors who might not be a full-time author just yet. The publisher takes care of most of the things, like editing, book covers, copy editing, line editing, all that good stuff. And if you're accepted, you pay little to nothing for services, of course. Then, you get bragging rights. Yeah, bragging rights. I'm strong. And usually, traditionally published books do sell more than self-published books. That's the truth. Sorry, self-published authors, but that's just the truth. But there are cons to traditional publishing. And those cons include, once you're accepted for publication, you could kiss your ownership you could kiss the ownership of your book goodbye. You're not the owner of your book anymore. You don't have ownership of your book anymore. It is now their book, which means they could change anything they feel like is necessary to their own needs. And that includes price. You will be unable to change the price without approval from the company. You will lose most, if not all, your creative control. I mean, some people don't mind that, but people like me, I will mind that. I do mind losing control of my creative control because it's something I created, not them. You understand? They did not create that work. You did. So it kind of stinks that you have to go your rights. And even though your publisher will market it a little bit, the truth is publishers have become lazy, and they put the button on the author, which means you still end up having to market your own book anyway. You still have to go on Twitter, Facebook, and all your and still market it. The publisher will only do so much for you, and they're doing much less than they used to, unfortunately. That's just the truth. With the advent of the internet, publishers have gotten lazier. And probably the biggest drawback is that you have to give at least 50% of your book sales or your royalties to the publisher. And I know some publishers that charge up to 70% of your royalties. You only get 30%, which, unless you're a bestseller, that kind of sucks. You only gain 30%. Unless you're a bestseller, you 30%. That's pennies. That's pennies. And to make matters worse, you're in a legally binding contract and you cannot get out before a certain amount of time. So you better hope your book does well. And of course, the biggest con is the chances of actually being accepted by a publishing company are no. Even with a good agent, it's no. You don't have a very good chance. Is it impossible? No. Is it hard? Heck yeah. But it's not impossible. So, in conclusion, no matter which path you choose, both of them have the strong and weak points. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what path you want to take and how much work you really want to put into it. In my case, I'm a full-time author. Would I jump at a chance to be traditionally published? Pretty much sure I would. Sure, why not? However, I understand my creative control will be compromised, which is why I'm a little hesitant to do so or to go after it like right on rice, because I just have so much pride in my work. Some of you won't mind that, but people like me, we will mind that. So I hope this video helped you just a little bit, to make a more educated decision of whether to be traditionally published or self-published. And there was a third article on a third type of publishing called vanity publishing, which you saw me rant about 2 times, and there was an article on it as well. You can check that out as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I helped you a little bit for you aspiring authors out there. So have a good night and be easy. Peace.